Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Olaoluwa Fajimi. I'm a portfolio JP and a training program director in Coventry. Recently, I started a series of videos on the functionalities of the 14 fish e-portfolio. I did the first one extensively explaining what goes where, and I did a second one where we essentially wrote a log entry together. If you haven't seen those videos, I would suggest that you please see them. Now, in the course of that second video, I got a few feedback from yourselves, and someone particularly mentioned that they want to make a new PDP and they do not know how to do that, and that they've been trying to add new PDPs to their entries. So I thought, why not just go through how to put in your PDP. So, what's your PDP? As we all know, it's your personal development plan. It's what you put in at the end of every review, or if you're starting training at the beginning of your training. So, to put in a PDP entry, we are going to just come in here at the right hand side of your portfolio page. You click on this, and that will bring up your PDP page. Now, before we go into writing a PDP, which we'll do today, there are very important things to be very aware of when it comes to your PDP. And that is the fact that your PDP needs to be smart. I know in terms of the smartness of PDP, many of us have heard it so much that we are tired of hearing it. But I cannot overemphasize how important it is for your PDP to be smart. Number one is that it needs to be specific. It needs to target a specific area of improvement. Don't write a PDP saying you want to become a good GP, a good doctor. You want to learn how to manage chronic illnesses. No, don't do that. Rather specify it. I want to learn the management steps for a newly diagnosed diabetic. I want to learn the management steps for an already diagnosed diabetic patient. I want to learn the management step in terms of managing asthma in children less than 5. I want to learn the management steps in terms of managing a patient with COPD. I want to learn all the various inhaler types, what's in them, and when to use them in the context of asthma. I want to learn all the types of inhalers, what's in them, and how to use them in the context of COPD. So that will be specific PDP. Number two is how measurable they are. You want to have some indicators of progress. If you're progressing, you want to know that indeed you're progressing. Each time I see a patient that requires long-term management of diabetes, I will check my management plan with my supervisor and also check against national guidelines to be sure I have done the right thing. Each time I have a review of the ECG, I will discuss my findings with a senior and see if they are in agreement with what I think is happening in the ECG. Each time I see a chest x-ray and have reviewed it, I will check with a senior to see if they agree with my findings. Those will be ways to measure your progress. Those will be ways to make sure that you're getting to where you say you want to get to. The third one is whether they're achievable. You want a PDP where you can achieve realistic results given the resources and the time you've got available. For instance, let's say you go and put in on your PDP that you want to be a perfect consultant. You've got 3 years to do that. So that may not be exactly achievable. But let's say you've then gone into your consultation and you've picked out specific problem areas, and you've gone, oh, I need to deal with time management in my consultation, or I need my history to be more focused, that will be something more achievable. The fourth thing is how relevant they are. You cannot be training to be a GP and then your PDP is about how to perfect your craniotomy skills or how to perfect your C-section skills. They need to be relevant to the role you are doing and relevant to the role of what you're training to become. And lastly, is that they need to be time related. You need to specify when, for how long are you going to achieve this? Oh, by the end of this rotation, I expect to have mastered the management steps in a newly diagnosed diabetic. So you need to mention such that when you're doing the review of your PDP, you can see exactly whether you've met your own target or not. Now that we've explained what a smart PDP is, so now we're on the PDP page. There are three things before I proceed again. There are three steps really that the RCGP has proposed when it comes to the PDP, and they've called them the three stages to the PDP process. Number one is that you review progress against the previously agreed PDPs. Obviously, if you're new to training and this will be you're in your ST1, this doesn't apply to you. The second thing is that you then suggest new PDP entries. And then the third is that you agree these entries with your supervisor for your next review period. So I've had a lot of people asking me, oh, I should sit down with my supervisor and do my PDPs. Actually, you should have done your PDPs before seeing your supervisor. Show them, and if they want to make adjustment to it, if they've got suggestions to make for it or to it, then they can let you know. At the end of the day, it is your own personal plan. So it is only right that you be the one to write your own PDPs. Now, we're on the page. I will just click on to manually add the new PDP entry, and I will put a brief title. So I could say managing a newly diagnosed diabetic. Okay, so so what will be the development need? The development need is to learn the steps in the management of a patient newly diagnosed with diabetes. Apologies for my writing. To essentially know what to do next. So, how am I going to do that? So, first is that I'm going to study the NICE guidelines to learn the steps right from diagnosis. Possibly attend a few clinics with diabetic specialist services, and then to apply these steps in my own personal practice, in my own personal consultations. Okay, and the target date is, so this is October, for instance. I can achieve that in 3-4 months, so I will put it at February. So how would I demonstrate success? So when my decision making as to what to do next aligns with national guidelines, and also when my supervisor is in agreement with most of my decisions upon checking with them. And that will be how to write a PDP. If I intend to put in a next one, I will add another one and I will do the same thing. Now, to the question of that doctor who have asked how to link their PDP, you can do that through two ways, really. You can do that by two ways. Number one is that I'm not going to save this PDP. I'm going to save one of the PDPs already completed by my friend in here, and I'm just going to click. So to link them, you can do that through two ways. Number one is that you can just make a log entry right from the PDP and it will take you straight to the log entry and it will already link them for you. That will be the first one. The second way to do that is if you were to go back to my last video where we wrote a learning log together, and that is the learning log we wrote together, and then I can just come in here and link to that relevant PDP and just click in here to link to that PDP. Now, what happens to the PDPs we've written? What's the fate of your PDP? There are two or three options, really. Number one is that you can complete your PDP. So at the agreed time, you can come back to the PDP and answer the question, have you completed this goal? Yes. And then you do a reflection on it. That's number one. Number two is that you may not complete it, where you come in here, have you completed this goal? No. And then you may choose to carry it over to the next review period. And number three is that you may choose to not complete the goal and not carry it over by saying you've not completed it now and justifying why, saying that, for instance, after taking your time to think about this PDP, you've come to the understanding that this may not be what you particularly need at this point in time, and as such you've decided not to proceed with that PDP. The other question I often get is, how many PDPs do I need? There are no numbers to the PDPs you need. You should have at least one or two in every review period. Many supervisors will tell you have three, have four, but what matters is that you are completing the bulk of your PDPs. For instance, let's say you've got 4 PDPs and you're completing 3 of them and you're carrying one over. That will be perfectly fine. Where the problem will be is if you've got 2 PDPs and you're not completing any of them, it doesn't show that you are learning, which is what your PDP is all about. So I hope I've been able to clarify all the questions raised by my friends concerning the subject of PDP. If you've liked this video, please do well to subscribe. That's the only way you can encourage me to keep making these videos for you. And of course, if you've got any questions, please do well to put them on the comment section and I will address them. If you do not want to publicly discuss the questions and you want to send an email, you will find my email in the introduction of the videos and you will be able to drop an email with me. See you in my next video.